AEW Women's World Champion Thunder Rosa will miss All Out through injury. However, this week has seen numerous allegations of heat and backstage beef between Rosa and numerous AEW female stars. She has since responded and addressed rumours of her injury being faked and backstage heat. Plus, we have an update when it comes to her berating possibly extras in the past. More details on this big AEW news story coming right up. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of AEW. Now, I have done the AEW news video today. I did it earlier on. There were numerous stories to talk about. A lot of backstage beef, a lot of backstage drama, of course, we know going on in the world of All Elite Wrestling. But one of the biggest stories this week has been Thunder Rosa. Her injury, missing All Out, backstage drama with her and female talents such as Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, and others. Reports of her hiding in bathroom stalls allegedly to avoid people, even though she's an MMA fighter, and people saying, why would she do that? There is so much going on right now when it surrounds Thunder Rosa and backstage beef and stories and allegations and all this kind of stuff. So I thought, you know what I'll do? I'll try and put it all into one video and make it separate from the AEW news story, because this is a big news story in itself. So let's get straight into this regarding the situation surrounding the current AEW Women's World Champion. Now, of course, this past Wednesday night on Dynamite on TBS, Thunder Rosa announced that she was stepping back from being AEW Women's World Champion due to a back injury. Now, this came as a surprise to many watching the broadcast, and Rosa has provided some further details about the extent of her setback. She said, quote, "I'm not the best physically right now, I'm not gonna lie," Rosa told Busted Open Radio. "Unfortunately, I'm going to be out of commission. I don't know for how long yet, for a couple of months probably. I have a problem with my back." Now, Rosa explained that she's actually not medically cleared to compete right now and assured everyone this injury is not a work, it's not a fake, and it's not her ducking competition or trying to run away from, most importantly, possibly dropping the AEW Women's World Championship, which she was scheduled to do against Tony Storm in a couple of weeks at All Out. Now, it's been reported this past week that Rosa does not get along with former AEW Women's World Champion and the person she defeated for the Women's World Championship, that being Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, along with Jamie Hayter also behind the scenes having heat with Rosa, which may have resulted in AEW President Tony Khan sending the reigning AEW Women's World Champion home, thus creating the injury storyline to write her off television. Thunder Rosa has completely dismissed that and debunked that, saying, "No, it's not true. I've got a legitimate back injury. These online rumors and reports, they're not factually accurate." Now, Rosa dismissed the dirt sheet rumors and suggested that people stop reading stupid things online, or listening, I guess, to people like myself. Furthermore, she insisted that if anybody does have a problem with her, they can always reach out. Quote, "I don't hide from problems. I don't run from my problems. You can talk to me. My door is open." The 36-year-old also revealed that she's been working through this injury for a while, causing it to get worse over time. However, she found out what her diagnosis was this past Monday, again referring to this back injury. Now, the news doesn't stop there. We'll get through these reports and I'll give you my thoughts on it, because it's just a constantly developing story. Now, as I mentioned, she announced that she was stepping back from in-ring competition to recover from this back injury. However, social media, some fans, pundits, and others alike have speculated that the Women's World Champion was written off of television due to this backstage heat that she had with Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, and possibly more. But she is confirming that this injury is real. However, these reports of this behind-the-scenes drama continues to circulate. According to Fanbytes, there have been conflicting stories from a myriad of sources about Rosa's behavior during her AEW tenure. Some employees told the outlet that she has a history of berating opponents and talking down to her colleagues, which includes even if she's wrestling against veterans. Non-contracted wrestlers who have appeared on AEW Dark and AEW Dark Elevation have reportedly received negative reactions from the AEW Women's World Champion, with one talent recalling a time Rosa accused her of being badly trained. However, similar critiques have been lobbied at Rosa as well. After accidentally breaking Hayter's nose during their recent match at AEW Battle of the Belts 3, the 36-year-old was reportedly nowhere to be seen for a while afterward. The report notes that Rosa eventually tried to apologize to Hayter before locking herself in a bathroom. Of course, the bathroom story should be taken with a big pinch of salt here, possibly a whole bag of it, with fanbites stating that it may have not been related to the Jamie Hayter incident at all. Per the report, one AEW talent claimed that Rosa lacks some basic in-ring fundamentals. On the flip side, a former colleague of Rosa's in Lucha Underground dismissed this idea that she's an unsafe worker, though they did say she's reluctant to take bumps and sell some of her opponent's offense. Elsewhere, some wrestlers have criticized Rosa for working stiff, especially in regard to her low dropkick maneuver. Quote, she'll just beat the F out of people, one fanbite source claimed. Quote, her strikes are killing you. Now, when it comes to that, and there is another part of this would appear that, as with anything, with any story, and this isn't necessarily even pro wrestling related, I guess. This is just the media. This is the day and age that we live in. This is social media times. You can't believe everything you read. And what I try to do here on the channel with these kind of stories, which are quite salacious, I guess, and they question people's character and their behavior, is you can't believe everything you read. Ultimately, I can't tell you what to believe. I can't. I can't tell you how to make up your mind or what opinion you can come to. What I ask of everyone, and I do this myself, is I'll read something, I'll say, do I believe it, or do I believe elements of it? And as I always say with any kind of articles, whether it's wrestling, whether it's football, or whatever, is it's like panning for gold. You have to, how they pan for gold, they get it through the dirt. They've got one of those sieves and they shake all of the dirt away and they find a little bit of gold in there. And that's the same with stories. That's the same with online articles. You have to sort of sift all of the dirt away and then you find a little bit of truth in there, or an element of truth, a kernel of truth. And as it would appear, there are lots of people on lots of different sides here saying different things about Thunder Rosa's demeanor or behavior or in-ring style. Some people saying she's unsafe, she's horrible, she's berated people. Some people saying no, she's not like that, she's actually very welcoming. Some people say it's not as if she's unsafe, she can be reluctant to do bumps. Some people just saying no, she's just very stiff. It's almost horses for courses, isn't it? People have different opinions, and this is pro wrestling. So not a lot of people like everyone, and not a lot of people are liked by everyone in pro wrestling. And just in life, you can't be liked by everyone, and this would be the case with Thunder Rosa. Now, if some of the reports are accurate about her berating people, that's just being unprofessional. At the end of the day, that's being unprofessional, and that's not being, it's not necessarily a prerequisite in pro wrestling to be nice. You don't have to be nice in life. I would recommend it. I would also recommend to treat others how you wish to be treated yourself. And you have to wonder, would Thunder Rosa like to be spoken to in the way that she is allegedly spoken to people? I'm sure she wouldn't. And I would recommend to her to take that on board if these reports are accurate. But there is certainly smoke here. It's just a case of how much fire is involved too. Now, new details have emerged of the aftermath of Thunder Rosa breaking Jamie Hayter's nose. And again, this goes back to this situation of her allegedly hiding in the bathroom or something like that. And while it was reported, as I mentioned, that Thunder Rosa was hiding in the bathroom, this may have actually been a misinterpretation of the actual series of events that played out backstage. According to numerous sources that have talked to Fanbyte's David Bixenspan, of course, well-known wrestling journalist, and people have their opinion on him, people have their opinion on everything. After the match, Rosa sprinted from the ring and was nowhere to be seen. When Rosa re-emerged, she was told about the injury to Hayter. Sources said that Rosa was apologetic after hearing about the injury before she went into a bathroom and locked herself inside. This comes not too long after it was speculated that Rosa and Baker were having problems with each other too. This may have been a factor in the original match at All Out Changing, which was scheduled to have Storm go over and take the AEW Women's World Championship away from Rosa. So, look, the idea that she faked an injury to not drop the championship, I don't buy into that too much. Granted, Shawn Michaels was known for having, losing his smile or going away with a knee injury or a back injury at a time, and he was known to do that. And it's not out of the realm of possibility that could happen, but I don't think that is the case, especially with nowadays. Like, you have to remember back then, Back then, when Shawn Michaels had a bad knee, essentially what he would do is go to his doctor in San Antonio, back in Texas. He would have and say to his doctor, "I've got a bad knee or I've got a bad back," and the doctor would say, "Yeah, you have," and then they would just tell WWE. They didn't really have their own physicians or doctors, really, sort of on site, employed by the company, all that kind of stuff. So they would just get a call from Shawn Michaels and his doctor and say, "I've got a bad knee, I've got a bad back, I can't work." That's it. Nowadays, even if you had your own personal doctor say that, they would say, "Okay, you're going to have to be looked at by our physicians, our doctors." So if Thunder Rosa says, "I've got a bad back," she would have to be cleared by the AEW doctors. If she's not cleared by the AEW doctors, then that would imply that this is legitimate. So I don't really buy too much into, she's faking the injury not to drop the championship. I think it's one of those situations, and again, it's part of the problem, I guess, nowadays. But this is just media, actually, in general. This is almost predates social media, is that it's almost very coincidental, isn't it? And that's the problem. People don't really believe in coincidences that much, and maybe you shouldn't. But when it goes, she's injured, and she goes, and by the way, the finish just so happened to be that she would drop the championship at All Out, people go, because this is pro wrestling after all. And that is kind of the problem. People do see patterns maybe where there aren't, or coincidences where there aren't too. Add in all of these extra reports about her backstage attitude, demeanor, or how difficult she may or may not be to work with, people then start to paint a picture, and they start to see a pattern again, maybe where a pattern really isn't actually there. That's the situation too. So I don't buy into that part of it. I don't buy into she faked the injury not to drop the championship, because ultimately, whenever she does return, chances are she's going to drop the championship to Toni Storm. Toni Storm, as far as I'm concerned, is going to win it all out. She's going to become that interim AEW Women's World Champion. And when Thunder Rosa returns, she's going to lose. Thunder Rosa I think, is going to lose. So I don't think I don't put too much stock in that one. As far as the reports of her behavior backstage, as I said before when I spoke about the Thunder Rosa thing, I remember watching not so much their first match, that first St. Patrick's Day Slam unsanctioned match, which I thought was excellent, between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. I thought that was great. But when they had their match at AEW Revolution, and when they had that follow-up match, the one that was inside the cage, St. Patrick's Day Slam once again, Thunder Rosa's hometown, when she won the AEW Women's World Championship, I saw parts of it where I went, that was a bit stiff. And you would see a stiff strike from Thunder Rosa, and then you would see Britt Baker be visibly annoyed by it, like that was stiff, or not sandbagging, but just like things were just looking a bit difficult at times. And I didn't hear or see anything written about it afterwards. So I thought, maybe that's just me. They were just working really snug, and they just wanted to make it look as real as possible, and you always should. But I just went, that was a bit off. And then I remember, you can go back and watch it, the first promo that she did as AEW Women's World Champion is when Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero are out. And Vicky Guerrero, or Nyla Rose, is cutting a promo. I think it's Vicky Guerrero. And she just interrupts. She just starts talking mid-through it. And you can tell Vicky Guerrero's like, I didn't know she was going to cut me off there. And you sort of go, was she going into business for herself there? I don't know. I don't. So when you have incidents like that, and when you have multiple people saying things, that's when you do start to sort of go, well, maybe there is something to this heat, or maybe there is something to it. I don't know. Maybe there is something to all of it. And as I mentioned earlier on, I don't really know where I sit on this, because I'm uncomfortable with just writing someone off and painting them to be something that they're not without a lot of evidence. If a lot of reports came out saying the exact same thing, you would go, there definitely feels like there's something there. But there's a lot of reports coming out saying a lot of different things. Some people don't like her. Some people do like her, but they say she works stiff. Some people say, she has said some things, not been very nice in the past, but she doesn't make her a bad person. I don't know. And that's why this story, I think, is so interesting, because I'm not sure we'll ever get fully the whole truth in all of this. I'm sure there'll be shoot interviews in the future with certain people saying things about Thunder Rosa. We know the issue she had with Ivelisse before in the past, and Ivelisse hates her, and she's gone on the record loads of times. And I saw recently, because of all of this stuff here, she's like, proved it, I'm right, I told you I'm right, and all this kind of stuff. Well, you're no saint either. And again, that's the problem. Again, if all of this is true about Thunder Rosa, the reason people didn't believe Ivelisse at the time is because she's known to be difficult too. So it's all very strange, but it all feeds into at the moment with AEW, all of this drama that's going on. And as I spoke about in the AEW news video earlier today, clearly Tony Khan needs to get a grip on all of this. Now, again, I must stress this when it comes to pro wrestling. People not liking each other, or people being stiff, or people being difficult to work with, unfortunately, that's pro wrestling. That is how it works. You will not find a company where every single person gets along. You will not find a company where everyone is happy with their position. And you will not find a company where everyone is happy with payoffs. It is a snake pit. It is a shark tank-like environment whereby everyone wants to get to the top and everyone wants to keep the spot that they have or get the spot above them. That is pro wrestling. That's how it's worked since the beginning of time. There are people that don't like each other, but they have to work with each other. There are people that are mortal enemies. Do I need to say Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels? I mean, that is literally, how many times have we seen the documentaries about that? That's how pro wrestling works. Now, it's about the management and those in charge to make sure that people can coexist, or if there are issues, they get resolved. Or if Thunder Rosa is being particularly difficult to work with, they don't reward her by giving her the championship, or they say, look, you have to behave better, or you have to work better with the talent that you're working with. Or we've heard extras or uncontracted wrestlers come in and say that you were berating them or you were being particularly harsh to them and all this kind of stuff. You need to change that. You're a representative of AEW as its champion. They need to figure that out. They need to sort that out, AEW. But also on the flip side of things, again, it's not ballet too. You know, this is life. Sometimes you have to be harsh to people. And maybe there are incidents, because I'm sure there have been. It's not as if every wrestler's the best wrestler in the world and the best trained wrestler. I'm sure there might have been incidences where, you know, where she's wrestling someone and they sucked or they weren't trained very well. And in that case, when you are putting your health and life on the line in the ring, you expect to have a competent dance partner. And if you don't, you're well within your rights to say, you suck, get better. You were dangerous out there. You hurt me. But on the flip side, if Thunder Rosa is also being dangerous by being really, really stiff, she also has to hold up her end of the bargain too. Which again goes back to this situation just being incredibly complex. It is incredibly complex. And that is drama in pro wrestling. It's always incredibly complex. We're talking about different personalities, different people from different walks of life. And does this get resolved? I don't know. I don't know if it's a case of her being away. We don't even know how long she's away for. How severe her injury is. If she's gone for 6 months, they should strip the championship from her. That's too long. If it's a case like, you know, a CM Punk where it's just a couple of months, then maybe she can be the world champion. But when she comes back, she's going to drop the bout to Toni Storm. Because AEW can't set that example of, you know, if you don't want to drop the bout, get injured and then you can come back. No, the plan was for you to drop the bout. You still got to drop the bout when you come back. So all of this, I don't suspect gets resolved anytime soon. I mean, there aren't people coming out from people like Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter saying that's not true. They're not denying it. And Thunder Rosa isn't really denying it. She's saying, if you've got a problem, speak to me. Implying that she knows some people have a problem, they're just not speaking to her. So read into it what you will, make of it what you will. Certainly, I'm interested what you guys have to say in the comment section below. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. And I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.